Welcome back to the Posscast, where we dig through the sewers of Reddit to find the worst RPG horror stories.
It's me, also.
It,
Hi.
it is you, indeed. We got a couple of interesting stories. We'll go ahead and start with mine called "This is what happened." This is what happens when you ignore a GM's warnings. It is by Red Mantis Valoran and was posted 5 days ago.
Okay, hold on. Before we get into the actual story, I just had a thought.
Yes?
Alright, so DM, GM, ST. What is your favorite word for the guy that runs the game?
Dungeon Master. It sounds so much cooler than Storyteller or Game Master.
Yeah, agreed.
Game
Storyteller, though it depends on the game, because Storyteller does have a vibe to it.
Yeah, Storyteller has the vibe of like sitting around a fireplace. Game Master sounds like you'd be Toadette on Mario Party.
Game Master sounds like you're gonna be sitting around in like your local friendly game store.
Yeah, but Dungeon Master,
Dungeon Master makes you sound like you're ruler of the lands.
Dungeon Master invokes the vibes of like wearing a dark cloak and a mask as you're sending these adventurers, possibly to their death.
Or being short, bald, and wearing a red robe.
Yeah. I do like the,
To be fair, balding. He's not completely bald.
He's bald on the top.
Like a monk.
Yeah. But he's a wizard.
Yeah.
Alright. So, didn't we calculate what level the people would have been based on the spells that they were using?
I think it was like 4th or 5th level.
I want to say 4th as well. They used Rope Trick, which is like, I think a 2nd level spell, 3rd level.
Well, who knows? Maybe it might have changed at some point.
That's fair.
Don't forget the cartoon came out in like the 90s when like...
Oh yeah,
AD
second...
He was still the big boy.
I think 2nd edition had just come out when the cartoon happened.
Yeah.
Anywho, let's
remember when it took decades for D&D editions to come out?
Yeah, and now they got one D&D, which is just 6th edition, and everyone hates it, almost as much as 4th edition.
Alright, onto the story.
Alright, so, this is what happens when you ignore your GM's warnings, by Red Mantis Valoran, 5 days ago. Let's jump right in. My most recent session with my group involved them going to a dungeon to stop a super weapon from firing. They didn't know how long they had. I gave them a week in-game, but I impressed upon them several times that if they take too long to stop it, there would be consequences. It took them 2 days to do everything they needed to get ready. That's fine, plenty of time left. The moment they entered the dungeon, they see a super obvious thing powering the weapon and immediately understood that they need to stop it, which essentially involves clearing out the first floor of the dungeon. After it was done, and the super weapon was stopped, then they could go on to the boss of the 2nd floor. It took them 4 days in-game to clear the first floor, as it was quite a strain on their resources. And they had to keep going back and forth to heal and replenish supplies.
4 days?
Yeah.
Okay, I guess going back and forth from a town to heal up and restock.
Yeah, I think that's valid.
Like half a day's travel just to get there. So, yeah.
But plus the 2 days to prepare, that's 6 days out of 7. So, I felt like they could have planned better, but whatever. That's why I gave them a week. It was far more time than they actually needed. There was only one battle left, and they were going into it full strength, so it should turn out fine. The last day came, and I talked to the group about how the super weapon is glowing brighter every day and making strange sounds they hadn't heard before. When they get back inside the dungeon, I describe how this whole structure appears under great strain and how the main room where the battle to stop the super weapon would take place has completely changed color, and how things involved in the last ritual that was powering it seem frenzied and overzealous. Their response? Oh, that's weird, and they ignore it. They knew that all they needed to do to stop the weapon from firing was to fight the last group. Then the weapon would shut down. Only afterwards would they need to travel onto the second floor and fight the big bad. They knew this. They commented on this as they went on to the second floor. I continued to give them the most obvious signs and confirm with them multiple times that they knew what they needed to do to stop the weapon, to the point where I began to feel I was going beyond my role and giving away way too much. And they completely ignored every sign to continue exploring the dungeon. They waste all their resources for the day on rooms on the second floor, and then make their way out to rest. The next day comes. The super weapon fires. The city the PCs were trying to protect completely wiped out. The PCs themselves, less than half survived. The group was stunned. Was there anything we could have done to stop this? Gee, I wonder. Facepalm.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So, I'm no stranger to time limits. Y'all have experienced some time limits. Such as, having to deal with the Devil Judge before, the ball where everyone would blow up.
Uh-huh.
And y'all understood that time limit and worked within that time limit.
Yeah, they were like, alright, in like 3 days we're blowing that shit up. And we were like, fuck!
Yeah.
Fuck, we gotta fix this!
Yeah. If y'all... Can you imagine if y'all, instead of, like, destroying the statue and breaking the thing that was keeping Cornello disguised, if you're like, alright, we did a lot today, let's go rest and do it tomorrow. And then,
That's right, we did do that night.
Yeah, because everyone was getting ready for the ball. Well, no, it was the night before it was the night before the ball that y'all managed to do it. But yeah, everyone was still decorating and all that.
And then we were like, and then there's I would just like to say, imagine you're just like, all right, okay, the local government's throwing up a big party and the fucking queen's coming. Let's decorate all our shit because we're big and fancy and we live in the gold district.
Yeah.
And then this fucking band of weirdos, 2 of them wearing really fancy jackets, to be fair.
Yeah, it is a nice jacket. And one of them's wearing a nice hat.
Well, okay, Varen's got a nice coat.
Yeah, and also a nice hat.
Varen's got a coat, a big hat. There's like a little guy with a nice coat. He's got a bandana. And then suddenly he is tearing down the statue of Tyr.
After knocking out one of the clergy and stealing his jewelry.
Sushi did
Yeah,
that.
I know it was Sushi, but I mean the group in general.
The weird little samurai they've got with them just knocked out a clergyman, took his shit. They're destroying the statue.
There's a weird little glass orb inside that they break.
They find something inside the statue, first they steal his eyes.
Yeah, no, the stealing of the eyes came afterwards.
Alright. They tear down the statue, they bust it open, there's a ball in it for some reason. They smash the ball and suddenly you can hear the High Judge screaming in pain from his office.
Yeah. And then they fucking kill him and break off one of his horns because it turns out he was a fucking devil.
It's wild.
If y'all ignored the timeline and the ball happened and y'all didn't do anything to stop what was gonna happen, the queen would be dead, most of the nobles would be dead, and the judge would still be alive.
Hurt, but alive.
Yeah. I mean, not that hurt, let's be honest, because it would be fire and, like, shrapnel damage.
To be fair, concussive, that's gonna be a lot of force, at least.
That's fair. But still, a powerful devil, he'd be immune to like a third of the damage that would be dealt. Because, you know, fire. Devils are typically resistant, if not immune to fire. Because hell is hot. In some places.
Yeah, true. Not all of the places, but most of them.
Yeah. The lesson to learn from here is pay attention to what the DM is saying. Pay attention to the environment. If you know you have a deadline, try to look for clues as to how fast it's coming up.
Lesson for players. Please have situational awareness.
Yes.
It'll help you out in video games. It's gonna help you out in D&D.
I will say, I do want to congratulate this story in particular for being the second one in which the lesson was not "Don't be an asshole."
Ah, yes.
Yeah,
Unfortunately,
the first one being when the DM tried to make Esmeralda in Curse of Strahd French and ended up going ooh.
Ooh.
Yeah, these are the only two that we've had so far where the lesson is not "Don't be an asshole."
Well, unfortunately, our next story's lesson is probably going to be "Don't be an asshole" because, by user Abigail the Violet, player joins ongoing campaign to try and murder people.
Oh boy, I saw that title and I thought about that. But I decided on titles that, different titles.
Yeah. Alright.
Oh boy.
This story happened about a decade ago. At the time, I was about a year into running a weekly high-realism GURPS game in a homebrew fantasy world. The game was about running a mercenary company, but with strong emphasis on things like economics, logistics, and long healing times. This was the sort of game where a lot of fights were decided before they started, based on positioning and tactics. That would be cool. I just don't think I'd have the patience to be like one of the brains of that.
Oh, that's fair. You would probably need a an actual designated leader to give.
That would be one of those games where we try and bring Bev back in.
Absolutely, Bev is a really good tactician. That's why I've been consulting Bev on encounters I'm to send you through.
I can't remember. Did Bev left us after the Cornello fight, right?
Yeah. Bev left once y'all got into Lucretia.
Right. He went into the woods and never came back.
No. He met with a furbolg.
We saw him.
He met with a furbolg, was given a quest that was not that had a different path than the crew, and he went on that quest.
Yep. Alright, on with the game. Or the story, rather.
Yes!
I say rubbing my devious little paws. One of my players contacts me and lets me know that he knew someone who'd be interested in joining. We had room for another, so I said sure. We'll call the new player John, not his real name. When John arrived, I found out that the two of them didn't actually know each other. John had just seen my player reading a GURPS book at the bus stop, and I came up to ask him if he knew a game John could join.
What the fuck? Why would you invite someone you don't even know? Like, even the guest players that I bring into my campaign are someone that either I know or another player knows.
Oh well. Wow.
Yeah.
During character creation, I went through campaign and setting information, which included a brief mention of which species could have children with each other, in case he wanted to play a mixed species character. When I did that, he immediately asked, "Oh, is your game about breeding then?"
What the fuck?
Maybe this should have been my first red flag, but I could see where the misunderstanding was, so I clarified and moved on.
Speaking of, didn't Wizards of the Coast recently release a breeding chart?
Not recently. It was like a while ago, and I think it was specifically for dragons.
No. There was one that was with their with the. I think it was in their post about how they're changing races to species. I think.
I
don't
know.
Yeah.
We can look into it.
Yeah, I'm probably remembering wrong.
Probably, but there are like fan-made charts. You know, the grid charts where it's like intersections.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah. All right. He chose to play a member of a mercenary order who have a specific oath never to kill someone except when acting on someone else's orders. Not sure why he chose that, given what happened next. So, he gets hired by the company and dropped into the current story, which involves trying to track down one of their own who's been captured. We'll call her Eliza. The party's gathering information in a local town, making sure to tip well because they don't want to develop a reputation as a looting army. When he walks up to the boss of the company, who just hired him, and goes, "Permission to kill the stable boy?" The boss, who's another PC, goes, why?" And John says that then they can take their horses and go faster.
So the boss a straight up murder hobo.
Yeah. The boss clarifies that the party already has horses, and John is not under any circumstances to kill any civilians in the town.
Don't commit war crimes.
Yeah. At this point, I take him aside and explain that this is not the sort of game this is, and that he can't just murder people without consequences. He told me he understood, and we went back to the game. The party then went to an old NPC ally of theirs, Leaf, who they knew could magically track people, and hired him to help. He used Eliza's name in an incantation and told the party it wasn't working for some reason. At this point, one of the other PCs, who is Eliza's brother, revealed that Eliza wasn't actually her name. She was using a fake name to escape some people in her past. She told Leaf, and only Leaf, her name, and Leaf used it to successfully track her. Sometime later, the party has now rescued Eliza, and paid Leaf, and Leaf is going on his way. When John speaks up, I shoot Leaf in the back with my bow. I already had it drawn.
Don't fucking shoot the okay, that's the kind of NPC that is probably like 10 levels higher and will kick your ass.
Yeah.
That'd be like, that's the exact kind of, fucking, that'd be like if y'all tried to pick a fight with Tavel.
It'd be like if we got a new player, and they decided to pick a fight with Tross.
Why would anyone pick a fight with Tross? Tross is kind.
Yes, but he's also deadly. And he has knowledge, and knowledge is evil.
Well, knowledge is power. Knowledge
exactly.
is the most...
He's powerful.
Knowledge is the most powerful asset.
Well, you know what they say. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. Kill the intelligent.
Oh, God.
Down with academia.
Yeah. Information being the most important commodity is something I've been hammering into my campaign. What with characters like Mal and Tross, and all that.
Oh, yeah. Alright.
Alright. Continue.
Now, this is both a violation of his oath, and makes no sense. In addition to it just being out of left field, he just joined the party, and Leaf's an old friend of theirs. They would definitely side with Leaf over him, and he's surrounded by them. his character will die, pretty much guaranteed. So, I pause the game, explain all of this to him, and ask him why he's attacking Leaf. He states that Leaf knows Eliza's real name now, so he's protecting his party. Eliza's player calls bullshit and points out that Leaf just saved her life. He insists he already said he's doing it and won't take it back. So I let him make the roll. He hits, almost, but not quite managing to kill Leaf. Then, the party promptly captures him, court-martials him, and the company boss executes him. He was not invited back for another session. After some discussion, the group decides to just roll with those events. Leaf spends the next month of game time recovering from his injuries on the company's dime, and it takes quite a bit of work to repair that relationship.
Oof.
End of story.
Jesus Christ. I don't get people that attack allies. Like, there's certain allies I can understand players attacking, you know, like Wallace, the hero of Parnast. Because, you know, he deserves it. But, like, if you have an ally that you willingly go to...
Who's Wallace?
It's from the story The Hero of Parnast, basically. So...
I'm unaware.
It's a story that Puff and Forrest did. The short of it is that the party had gone to this town called Parnast, and they asked the party for help with something in the woods, and the module did not have any contingency, or if the party did not want the useless NPC to tag along. And the useless NPC was a kid named Wallace, who was supposed to navigate the forest, but also was terrible in direction, and was less than worthless.
Oh, right. I remember now.
Yeah.
You said annoying kid, and I was like, oh, right.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the kind of NPC I can understand attacking. But, like, one
But also he's a child.
And? Did I stutter?
To assault children.
I mean, technically it's illegal to murder anyone. Fuck them kids. Anywho, but if it's a character that your party has a good relationship with, that means that the players like the NPC. And trying to kill that NPC that the players like is never going to end well. Like, imagine it, like, if I brought in a guest who immediately tried to kill one of Sushi's consorts. That would not end well. Because Sushi would be angry.
I'd be angry. Those are the little guys keeping my possum safe.
Exactly. They're the ones that look after the pets.
And the ship.
And the ship. Anywho, yeah. So what's the lesson to learn from this? Don't be a murder hobo. Don't be an asshole.
Don't be an asshole. Maybe when you're inviting someone to join a game that you're in, that you've been in for like a year or more, maybe make sure that you're aware of who this person is.
That too. Don't invite randos. Vet them first. And also kick them out whenever you start seeing red flags. Like asking to murder the stable boy for no reason.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Now for your next story.
All right. This next story is called "My Character Wouldn't Join the Party" by Literal Garbage Gayo. No, Literal Garbage Yo. Nice. It was posted 4 days ago. I'm gonna skip the preamble and the TLDR, which they posted before the story for some reason. It's basically the general, first time poster, doing it on mobile, and then a TLDR. Anywho, skipping into the meat of the story. I've been DMing for the better part of 10 years now, and in that time, I've settled on 2 firm rules when it comes to character creation. 1, the character conceptually has to make sense in the world we're playing in. And 2, the character has to have a reason to join the adventuring party. And in all my time as a DM, I've only had to veto 1 character before this incident. By the way, those are 2 very good rules, very simple rules. I also have those rules. So, onto the story. I've been running this campaign for 6 months now, and things were going great. Unfortunately, due to scheduling issues, things started to go not so great. One player had to drop out due to getting put on a night shift at his job, and another had some family issues going on and misses sessions semi-frequently. The usual stuff that derails campaigns in adult life. So, about this time, a new guy starts at my job. He sees me unbutton my work shirt and sees the D&D shirt I'm wearing underneath. And we start talking about D&D. I figure I take the chance to invite him to play since we're down a few players, and he accepts. Now I send him a Google Docs I have with the campaign settings and stuff. I run a homebrew campaign. And let him know that he can read through them if he wishes, or when we sit down to create character, I can point him directly to what information is relevant to his character. To my pleasant surprise, he reads everything, and even asks me multiple questions over the next few days. We finally sat down one night to hammer out the finer details of his character over Discord, and he has most of it worked out already. He wanted to play a variant human, Eldritch Knight a variant human fighter, Eldritch Knight subclass. The idea is that he was born with a magical birthmark, which made him an outcast. A big deal in my world since there's a huge bias against magic. And he left his home to find answers about his mark and try to learn how to control his power. So far, so good. There's only a few small things to work out to really make this character meld into the world. Sorry, I have I still have the cough, so I'm clearing my throat frequently.
Rip.
And finally, I get to the big question: what would be your character's motivation for joining the party, and why would he stay with them? After a few seconds of silence go by, he answers, "My character wouldn't join a party." I hesitate for a second, asking what he means. "Well, my character is used to being a loner. He doesn't trust people. He'd be very unlikely to join a group, even unlikely to stay with them for an extended period of time." I try to suggest a few ideas that would get his character on board with joining a party, from needing money, to needing more manpower to get the answers he needs, to being tired of being alone, but he just vetoes everything I suggested. Finally, after what seems like forever, it probably was only like 10 minutes, but still, I finally gave up, and he said, well, it sounds like this character isn't going to work in this campaign. You can either give him a reason to join the party or create a new character. His response: "What, so you're just going to railroad me into doing what you want? If that's the case, I'd rather not play." Well, I guess that's your decision. He left the Discord server shortly after and has avoided me at work since. We've since filled the empty spot with one of my players' wife, and she is doing an amazing job.
Ooh, boy.
Yeah, so I have a rule. I have very similar rules. If a character does not participate in the story, then they do not get to be in the story. Luckily, I've never had to enforce that rule. The only character we've had that left because he didn't feel like the character had a proper motivation to remain was Bev's character. And also that was because Bev just wasn't jiving with the setting, which I don't blame him. An open world is a very different setting from a standard D&D.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So I don't blame Bev, and Bev left on his own accord.
Amicably.
Yep, and
peacefully.
Yeah, and like I said, I still talk with Bev about planning out encounters and stuff, and Bev still sends me ideas and stuff. Bev actually recently made a really cool subclass that I am interested in.
And most importantly, he stayed in the D&D Beyond campaign so we can keep looking at his books.
Absolutely. Though at this point I have all the same books, so even if he did leave, I'd still be sharing them.
I'm in another campaign, so I've got books from like 3 different sources. I don't gotta buy shit.
Nice. Anywho, yeah, if you have a player who's playing the edgy rogue, staying in the corner and refusing to talk to the party, then just have the party move on without them. If they don't want to participate in the story, then they're not going to be in the story. You don't have to give them any kind of solo anything, because at that point they might as well just play a game. They should play a video game.
You don't need to excuse their actions.
Yeah, you don't need to excuse their actions. If they don't want to participate in the narrative, then they do not get to be a part of the narrative. You can't spell participation without part.
Yeah, you gotta take part to participate.
Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah.
Now, on to our last story.
Woo!
Now, this one's listed as extra long, but it's Reddit, so it's just kind of long. From user Goose This. That guy only wants to play homebrew with new DM. Isn't invited to next campaign.
Oh god. It's gonna be so overwhelming.
Oh yeah. So a little under a year ago, I was invited to be a player at a D&D table starting up a campaign. Now, previous to that, I'd been a forever DM for like a good 4 or 5 years, and was currently running another campaign, so I immediately jumped at the opportunity. This table was mostly made up of newer and inexperienced people with all with maybe 5 or 6 sessions under their belt, including the DM who had never actually been a player before. He was the DM for those 5 to 6 sessions. This was with the exception of myself and this other guy who has both a butt ton of experience. Me and this other guy who both have a butt ton of experience, though I don't think he ever DM'd. I will refer to this person as that guy. That guy had also played in those 5 to 6 sessions, which were 2 earlier campaigns that they tried to do and fell apart. Through the grapevine, I heard that in the previous 2 campaigns that fell apart, that guy refused to play as anything other than homebrew classes at this table with a new DM who had never played before. Classes that I later found out were from D&D Wiki.
Oh no! D&D Wiki is the worst place to go for homebrew shit. God damn. You remember the fucking homebrew gunslinger that was on D&D Wiki?
No, but I'm sure it was awful.
It was. It was way too overpowered.
The only times I ever go to D&D Wiki is by accident when I'm looking up old spells that haven't been ported into 5e, and people have like 3.5e homebrew versions of them.
Yeah, the only places I get
like
shit.
Sticks to snakes.
Yeah, the only place
or
that
snakes to sticks.
Yeah, the only place I look up shit is for spells. Usually Roll20. Because it provides more information than D&D Beyond does, but for like monsters, usually D&D Beyond.
Yeah, but unless you specifically pay for them, the compendium on Roll20 isn't going to have, extra sourcebook spells.
Yeah, that's why I look up spells on Roll20.
That's what I just said. Roll20 don't do that.
What?
When I say extra sources, I mean like books.
Oh, right. But
They
yeah,
just have like stuff from like the player's handbook.
but yeah, like Roll20 and D&D Beyond are where I usually look up stuff, and also there's some good homebrew stuff on D&D Beyond. Because D&D Beyond has a rating system.
Yes.
So any of the we should do an
Speaking of homebrew things, our friend Bev made a homebrew Ratkin race based off the Skaven from Warhammer.
Yes, and that's what Chocolate has been playing.
And what I used to play in Chokfi's other campaign, Realm of Zulu. Go back and watch it. Do it. It's only like
after this though.
Like 40 episodes long. It's fine.
After this though, because we're doing this. However, you know, it'd be a fun idea. What if we went onto D&D Beyond and looked at the worst ranked homebrew shit?
That'd be pretty funny, but I think XP to level 3's done that like a billion times already.
Damn it. I mean, we can still do it, because, you know.
Yeah.
Anywho, continue the story.
Yes. Along with this, that guy would also refuse to share what class or race he was ever playing as. That guy's character just so happened to then be significantly stronger than everyone else's character in just about every single way. The DM still is, good friends with that guy, and always seemed to listen to them and follow what they say. Caused a lot of friction between that guy and some others at the table. When the group chat for this new campaign was made, the DM stated up front that the new rule for this campaign would be that everyone had to share with the rest of the party what class they were playing. As we started bouncing ideas off each other in the chat as to what we would play, that guy stated he was going to be playing as a homebrew class called the Cuisiner.
Was that like a chef?
Hold on, they've included a link to the D&D wiki page.
Oh, please skim through it. I want to know what it is.
Okay. Whether behind the countertop in a quaint village or in the front lines of battle serving soldiers, cuisiners come from many works of life. Cuisiners focus on cooking the best food possible, referring to their practice as an art, rather than just making another meal to survive.
So it's a chef with extra steps.
Yeah. Let's see. Their highest ability score is intelligence, followed by constitution.
Yeah.
And also, it says for a quick build, make those two your highest, and choose the guild artisan background. This is for 5e. This is a 5e class.
All right.
They have proficiency in simple weapons, tridents, and scimitars.
That's why?
Tridents are just big forks.
I get that, but why the scimitar?
Why the scimitar?
Why not a cleaver?
Fancy cheese knife? I don't know. I think a cleaver falls under simple weapons.
Really? I thought it was exotic. I'm looking up the great cleaver.
It's just a big knife. Not a great cleaver, just cleaver.
Yeah, that's fair. Alright.
You can start with a trident and a dagger, or 2 simple weapons.
Jesus Christ. I would just... If I was playing a chef character, I would probably have a, like a longsword, but flavored to be a cleaver, since I don't think 5e actually has cleavers.
It does... when you start off, you do, from your class, get Tool Master. You have proficiency when attacking with certain tools. Your cook's utensils as weapons. Your tools get these added effects. Cleavers have 1d4 slash damage. When attacking an enemy that bleeds, this deals an additional 1d4 slashing damage. On a critical strike, it can sever appendages of non-magical creatures.
That is so way too OP. That's basically giving
That's 2d4 on anything mortal at level 1.
Yeah, and on a crit, basically giving it a lesser Vorpal.
Frying pans have 1d6 bludgeoning, 1d4, or 1d8, or 1d6 bludgeoning, 1d8 versatile. I don't know what that means. When you roll a critical strike against an opponent, you gain an extra hit die of damage, and the target is stunned.
That's stupid OP.
Yeah, this is fucking crazy.
All that shit at level 1?
Yeah, on with the story. I quickly took a look at the class.
Hold on, I need to go back to that, okay? That kind of shit is the stuff that, like, when you're, like, hit level 4 or level 8 or whatever, you should be able to choose from a list of that. Like how warlocks get their eldritch invocations.
Yeah, that's like, choose one of them, not all of them. There is also stuff for, like, bonus to your chef's uniform for it as armor and shit. Anyway, back with the story.
Yeah, back with the story.
I quickly took a look at the class, and as anyone who reads the link can tell, it's ridiculously overpowered. I really couldn't help but feel as though that guy was trying to pull one over on the new DM who didn't know any better about game balance. I brought up to my concern to the DM in private, going over some of the class's abilities and comparing to similar official class abilities. For example, it had some sort of combination of the Barbarian's 9th level feature Brutal Critical and the Monk's 5th level Stunning Strike as just one of its, like, 7 first level features.
Yeah, exactly.
How, in certain cases, really stepped on his toes in authority as the DM. The DM took what I said to mind, and together we found a different homebrew class, the Chef, from homebrewery.naturalcrit.com.
Okay, that's more reliable.
That was the same concept, but more appropriately balanced. Onward into the campaign we went. For the first few sessions, there weren't too many problems. That guy did sort of act and talk like he knew better than everyone else, but most of the player, the exception of one player whom that guy always butted heads with, was willing to tolerate it so long as it didn't get worse. It got worse.
Of course it's gonna get worse.
Of course it gets worse. That guy soon sort of developed a main character attitude, constantly leaving an area where the rest of the party is role-playing with each other to have the DM concentrate on what he was doing, often building a nest as his character was a duck. For like 20 minutes. I guess he's playing a duck person. Remember, he plays homebrew races too, so he's some sort of duck man.
Just, if you're gonna do that, just play the duck barbarian, the duck totem barbarian. Like, if you're gonna play a duck, just play the duck totem barbarian. It's a lot better balanced.
He might be an Aarakocra.
Well, yeah,
he's either an Aarakocra or some sort of homebrew duck race that's completely irrelevant because you could just be an Aarakocra.
Yeah, I had
maybe it's got like maybe it's like Aarakocra, but it's got like a built-in swim speed or some shit. I don't fucking know.
In my first campaign, I had an Aarakocra, a duck Aarakocra called the Mad Ductor Quack, and he was.
Bad.
Yeah, but the thing is, so there was an Archfey. There was
you should have just called him the Mad Mallard.
Ah, shit, that is better. But there was an Archfey that was overseeing this town or this city. That was the ruler of this city, and was in her off time. It was an open secret, but she was basically playing Batman, and the Mad Ductor Quack was her arch nemesis.
Ooh.
Yeah, the players had to deal with that. He was stealing research about colossi, and ended up getting petrified, because all this was taking place in the past. Right.
I remember you mentioning to me the Colossus.
Yeah, so the
time travel shenanigans where Dave finds out Dave was here was like scratched into it.
Yeah, so so he was trying to steal information on the Colossi, because that was his forte. Golems were his forte. And then he ended up, as punishment, got petrified, and then was unpetrified in the present time so that he could build, effectively, Mechagodzilla. But it was, like, also a Jaeger.
Fun.
My first campaign was wild, and I am...
Oops.
I should not have done any of the shit I did.
Oh, probably not.
Yeah. I'm a lot better in my current campaign. Anywho,
Yeah.
ducks.
Ducks.
Building a nest for 20 minutes.
Yep. Because building a nest as his character as a duck for like 20 minutes. This happened at least once, sometimes twice, a session. He, depending on whose interpretation you ask, I didn't witness the interaction myself, criticized the player he butted heads with for multi-classing to take a level of fighter on his 5 levels of barbarian, claiming they hadn't put the effort into the role-playing of the game to earn it. Bleh. For the first few sessions, there weren't too many problems. Okay, well, let me just say. Like, yeah, it is kind of weird if you just decide to suddenly multi-class. But also, it's not like it ain't allowed.
Yeah.
Like, sure. It's better to have your character, like, train up in their downtime so that... And then, like, when they level up next, you're like, I'm gonna take a level in fighter because I've been training.
Or better yet, have them take the level of fighter and then start training to actually learn how to... That way it would make... like... Have them take... Like... It could easily be they take a level of fighter, and when the person's like, "Oh, hey, that was different," you could be like, "Yeah, I've actually been reading books on it and wanted to try a new fighting style or some shit like that."
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I like multi-classes. Multi-classes are interesting. Chalkvi plays a Hexblade fighter multi-class, and kind of didn't level it the most optimal way.
Oh well, she's got more levels she can get.
Yeah, hopefully.
Look, I don't think... To me, Sushi feels like one of them characters that's gonna be hard to keep dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
Alright, back to the story.
Yeah.
Worst of all, that guy started consistently arguing against the DM over rulings at the table. Because the DM was new and that guy knew a lot about D&D, he would just concede or take that guy's argument or complaint for fact. The DM also listened to my advice a lot. I had been helpful at the table, guiding the party to bite the plot hooks or offering my knowledge of rules when asked. I have most spells, class features, and the stats and costs for weapons, armors, tools, equipment packs, and rules in general memorized. Because the DM listened to me as well, I started arguing against that guy when I thought he was overstepping. For example, we had a boss fight against this necromancer. That guy left the necromancer's range and they cast Inflict Wounds as an opportunity attack. That guy, you can't do that. Inflict Wounds is a cleric spell, and unless he has the Warcaster feat, he can't cast a spell as an opportunity attack. DM doesn't know what the Warcaster feat is, again, new to the game. It's an ability I gave him to cast Inflict Wounds when people left his range. Well, that's against the rules, and if you didn't specifically give him the Warcaster feat, then they can't do that. DM, looks to me. Well, NPCs, especially bosses, don't necessarily have to follow the same rules that PCs are bound to. They're bosses, after all. At the end of the day, you're the DM. If you say the Necromancer can do... If you say the Necromancer can do that, then he can.
Yeah.
Or, if you say he now has the Warcaster feat, then he now has the Warcaster feat. It's your call. The DM stands by the boss's ability, and that guy doesn't like that.
Ooh.
This sort of stuff went on and on, but the DM wasn't really willing to do anything about it. That guy also constantly talked a one-shot that he wanted to run for us. After months, it was never ready. 1 week at the end of the session, the DM said he needed a small break for next week and asked if anyone wanted to DM a one-shot. That guy remained silent, so I offered myself I offered up myself as I have a few one-shots in my back pocket if need be. We discussed the one-shot in a new group chat, and I told everyone to make level 6 characters and give themselves a free feat. That guy asked if there were any rules for character creation. I took this as his way of asking if he could play a homebrew class. I stated that I would allow any class or subclass that's from a book I own, which is most of them.
Yeah! Fuck yeah! Put your foot down!
Later on, he sent me a picture of the stats he rolled, asking if they were okay. He rolled 6d20 instead of 4d6, dropped the lowest reroll once. that I explicitly stated earlier we would be using. Those stats were 18, 17, 16, 16, 14, and 12. He then sent a follow-up text saying, "Oh, wait, I forgot we were doing 4d6, not 60-20. What would you want me to do?" Something I noticed with this guy is that that guy game is built around deniability. I responded, "We're gonna go with 4d6, drop the lowest, reroll ones. Everyone will roll for stats at the table." Game time came, and that guy showed up with a lore bard with a spellcasting adept feat. Nothing out of the usual. Then, the first combat came up, and that guy revealed he had taken Eldritch Blast and Hex from this feat. Now, this wouldn't really be a problem, but another person, by far least problematic person in the group, had made a Warlock. And this was already known by everyone. That guy pointed out to non-problematic player that he can do everything his character could.
Oh, what a dick!
And then he would still have all his other spell slots left.
What a dick!
He had a real smug look about him as he said it. And he sort of really stepped on the Warlock's toes.
He's an asshole.
That guy then used the rest of his spell slots to spam silvery barbs every single round. The one-shot still went great regardless. We all had a lot of fun. The campaign continued, and eventually that guy stated he would no longer be available in the game we played as school was starting up. This is apparently what ended the previous two campaigns, as DM wasn't going to run the game without him. DM said he would move the game to Saturday during the day, but then never set up another session. Ironically, that guy would almost always text old group chats on the nights we used to play, asking if anyone wanted to get online and play video games with him for a few hours. A little under a month of the group's hiatus, I started a new group chat and campaign with everyone in the old campaign. The DM was pretty excited to actually experience the game as a player, and admitted that being DM was draining him. I did not invite that guy to play with us. Every once in a while, he texts the old group chat if anyone wants to play games on Wednesdays, the day that we play, or D&D on Saturday. The answer from everyone to both is always no. I can't help but grin.
Oh, God. This guy cannot read a room at all.
No, he cannot.
Jesus Christ. So...
And he's just an asshole in general, going like, "Oh, I can do everything you can, but I've got more spell slots too."
Yeah, that's a huge asshole thing to do. So, one thing I try to encourage is variety in a party. Like, I try to encourage players to play different classes, I think that it would be like, for example, if Varen ended up taking Eldritch Adept and just started doing all the things Sushi could do and being smug about it. That would be an asshole thing to do, and I would have to talk to the player. But yeah, no, like, everything about that player pisses me off as a DM. Because first of all, I straight up ban D&D Wiki. Like, if you want to come to me with a homebrew, it better be on D&D Beyond.
What I hate about it is that it's spelled like Dandwiki. The URL is D-A-N-D. I hate that.
Oh, God. Yeah.
D-A-N-D. I fucking hate it.
Yeah.
I got like homebrew classes from Dandwiki.
God damn. You know what the absolute worst homebrew race I've seen on D&D Wiki was?
What?
Trolls. With different powers based on their blood color.
That reminds me of the story where someone tried to introduce Homestuck trolls and called them candy trolls.
Ew, that sounds stupid.
Yeah, can you guess what all the players did when they came across candy trolls?
Killed them, ate them, beat them like a piñata?
Fucking killed them and tried to eat them because they thought they would be made of candy.
Oh, God. That's amazing. Yeah, no. I have no problem with homebrew stuff. Like we said, Chalkv is playing a homebrew race made by our friend Bev. Bev has made a subclass that I am interested in trying to find some place to put into the campaign because I trust Bev, and Bev knows how to balance things.
Yeah.
Also, in regards to homebrew stuff, I have played a homebrew. Well, I have homebrew characters, such as Lady Fluffles, the Pom Pup. Pom Pups are a homebrew race, and there are Pom Pups in my campaign, so I have no issue with homebrew. However, trying to weasel your way into playing the most broken OP shit is where the line is drawn.
Not only that, but doing it because you know you can get away with it.
Yeah, because when you do that, there's only two outcomes. Either the combat is going to be way too easy and everyone's going to be bored, or you're going to have to scale up the combat for that one player, and it's going to be way too hard for everyone else, and everyone's going to be miserable.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Balancing,
There's,
even
my
without...
neighbor's dogs are barking and it's picking up on the VTuber.
I can't hear it.
Well, that's because it's not picking up on Discord, but every time the dog barks, my possum opens her mouth.
Yeah, I do not like power gamers at all. They ruin the game for everyone involved.
Yeah.
And that's why I put a focus on RP in my campaigns.
Yep. That's not to say that min-maxing makes you a bad player. I play with a good couple min-maxers, and they're wonderful players. They're not entirely overpowered. They fit well within their level.
But playing characters who have no flaws and have perfect stats, that's a boring character, because there's no room to actually grow.
Yeah. And even if they are, like, a little overpowered, like, they're still interesting, like, they're still interesting characters, so it's easier to overlook.
Yeah. Goddamn, I kind of want to, at some point, I kind of want to read the Centaur of Attention.
Ugh.
You know that one?
Oh, wait. Oh my god, you've just reminded me, I need to mention it.
Yeah?
Okay, so in my first D&D campaign, which lasted for like for 3 years.
Yeah?
I played as a available at the time, but then no longer available, College of Satire Bard.
Oh, I remember those.
Yeah, I played a College of Satire tiefling named Karlek.
Yeah?
He had golden eyes with no irises or pupils.
Oh, neat.
Yeah. And I designed him myself.
Oh, nice.
I mean, to be fair, I made like a 10 by 10 pixel grid and made his face based on that, but I made a pretty good face.
I think you actually sent that to me at one point.
Probably. So, the thing about this campaign is that we did have a winter holiday, and that winter holiday was manned by none other than Santar.
Oh god, I love that. Was he a reindeer tar?
No, he was. I think he was a horse tar, but like, he did not have a coat. He was shirtless, and he was incredibly buff.
Yeah. Yeah, you know the Centaur of Attention, though, right? The story about the guy who has a Centaur NPC that's like level 40, and anytime the players do something, the Centaur has to make it about himself. Like going as far as like he starts a monologue and the players just turn their horses around and gallop away, and then he just continues his monologue while chasing the players.
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
Yeah, it's so.
Looking it up though, I have found out that in their latest unset, Magic the Gathering did make a Centaur of Attention.
Oh god, you gotta.
It's Unfinity. The theme is Circus in Space, and also most, if not all, of the cards are tournament legal. The first unset to be almost entirely tournament legal.
Oh, that's amazing.
Instead of a silver border, the foil sticker on the bottom of the card is it's got acorns instead of the Magic the Gathering logo.
Nice. But yeah, the story ends with the players killing the centaur, and then literal gods resurrecting him, turning him into a centaur angel, and then the players just like fucking leave and ditch the DM.
Yeah, I mean, I would have left way earlier, but like if I survived to that point, I would be like, I would just like pull the DM into another voice chat and just be like, do you not see the problem
Oh no,
here?
I'm pretty sure they did tell him that they were miserable and hated him and hated the centaur and wanted the centaur to die, and the DM didn't care. Like, I would stay just to see how much of a train wreck it is.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah. So, those stories boils down to, one, if you have a player that doesn't want to participate, then kick that player out. 2,
don't be an asshole.
Yeah, don't be an asshole. And also kick out power gamers. They ruin the game. Unless you have a campaign that is specifically requires power gaming, like a TPK one-shot, which I really, really want. I have a great idea for a TPK one-shot for my campaign, and I really want to do it. But I have a lot of work on it that I gotta do.
I'll bring in Levere level 20 as a kobold god. It'll be cool.
Nah, you'd have to play a character that's not Levere, because it would be taking place like 2 or 3 eras before.
Oh, I love that shit.
Yeah,
I love that shit. We'll find our dead bodies.
Exactly. The idea, the TPK one shot idea I have is basically y'all would try to be stalling the armies of angels and devils in order for the ritual to end the incursion completes, and that's the idea I have.
Nice.
Yeah, so it would be, I mean, you would definitely die. It would absolutely be a TPK.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's an onslaught of angels and devils. There's no way we're surviving.
And I guarantee
most people died anyway.
I guarantee at least one of the incursive generals, that one of the devil generals, would appear to fight you personally. I don't know which one yet. I don't want to use Cornell. Like, it would be a good way to like showcase him at the height of his power, but also I feel like I could make better use of other ones that haven't really been active, like Corduroy or Caliborn. Maybe Corduroy.
All right.
Either way, yeah.
All right.
So, yeah, and that basically is it.
And also, late. I gotta make dinner soon.
Oh yeah, I gotta prepare for recording Hollow Knight. But yeah. So have situational awareness. Make characters that would actually have a motivation to participate in the story. Don't be a power gaming asshole. And then the other one was what was your first story?
Also, don't be an asshole, basically.
Okay, yeah, don't be a murder hobo.
Yeah.
Okay, so, that concludes this episode of Posscast. If you want to check out more D&D shit, we've got 2 campaigns. We got Curse of Strahd, which Chalkv is running, and then we got the homebrew that we referenced multiple times, World at Tapir, which I run, and Bitney plays in. There's also Hollow Knight on the channel. There's Jack and Daxter. There's Tabletop Thursdays, where we play Tabletop Simulator on Thursdays. And then there is Ace Attorney, which Biddy and I play on Fridays. So there's plenty of stuff for y'all to check out. Comment challenge of the day.
What's your favorite subclass?
Yes, I'm having a blast playing the Trickster Cleric.
Swashbuckler's been pretty fun.
Oh yeah, you got a lot of use out of Swashbuckler in the arena fight.
Yeah.
All right. So with that out of the way, there's nothing left to say. But good night, everybody.
Goodbye.